Oh. One Monday left. Maybe next Monday. These are all very good today. I don't think there's a boring one. It's good. Because you are presenting. I'm not. You're not doing it. This worked out, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. Briefly, said at 1 o'clock. Isn't it? Just double check when I saw the addresses. Both of them with the others after addresses. No. No. Yeah, for that. I wanted my fringes. I just get that, you know, or so I can make it in because I didn't like listen to it, but I wanted my fringes to be straight. So I just get it straight a little quick. I suppose you could put a cool temperature first. It made both my straight and we don't know what it is. So it's like, oh, yeah, but it worked. It did work. Yeah, things happen at the last minute. Super bloggers. We'll get started. A good week. Others have created. And when you get your rubric back, it's I use the UTTC writing rubric for the written blog, and then for the presentation today, I use the oral communication blog, and I posted those with the assignment many moons ago. So if you look at your instructions, they're there. The rubric is there, what you get graded on. And I'm a pretty high grader once it's completed. Welcome, Famous. I'm recording on Zoom, so then we have a record of it, so I can just put the link instead of having to bring my camera up. Today we'll listen to Janelle, Samantha, Riley, Taya, Cup, and Famous. Okay. You can go to your blog. I don't expect you to read the entire blog, but just go to each of the 5 posts and just kind of give us a brief summary. Some students will read the entire post, but then that's going to take 10 minutes. And I think most of you can go through your blog in 2 to 4 minutes. That way we can get through 6 of them today. No problemo. All right. Janelle, want to go first? Hold it open, the ones on the top part there first. I'll open when they were made.
Okay, I chose to try to make a shawl. I haven't ever made a shawl. I always wanted to make a shawl, but I envisioned it of being like really easy and fast. And it was pretty easy. It just took some time. But when I started, I was trying to get all the material together, and we usually use like what is it called? Polyester for the fabric, but I couldn't find any polyester anywhere around here. And so I just ended up using cotton, and like I was kind of picky on the color because like I was gonna send it back home for one of my little granddaughters to use for the summertime for a little bear dance. But I didn't want it to be like too dark, because if it was gonna be too dark, it was gonna bring more of the heat in. So I was kind of picky on the color. And so I just chose like a spring material. And then I couldn't find no material. And then my friend let me use her sewing machine. I have a sewing machine at home, but I didn't bring it, so I didn't think I was gonna need it. So she kind of set it up for me, and she told me to use the zigzag, but I didn't know how to set that either on her machine. So I just ended up doing a straight line. And what was kind of hard for me was I thought I could go fast because I used to sew, but I haven't sewed for so long. And so when I started going fast, my lines are all crooked. So I was like, okay, I gotta go back to slow. So my lines came out a lot better on the parts that I messed up on. But like, even though the lines weren't straight, I just kept going because I just wanted to get to the end of it. And I started doing the fringes once I finished that. It took me about 4 hours to sew the whole thing year round. And it took me like a week to put fringes on all the way around it. Because I would, yeah,
Okay, could you click read more under 4 and then just click the picture? And the picture then comes up big for us in the audience. See how that works?
yeah.
Yeah, and continue, sorry.
And then like, when I got to the fringing part, to putting the little holes in, okay, the first line that I did, it, like I stopped and I went and I stopped and I went. And then like on the rest of them, I kind of made holes all the way so that I wouldn't have to stop and make any more holes. I was just trying to figure out what was gonna be faster. And then plus my hands started hurting from putting the needle through the fringe. And I was like, trying to think, I was like, how am I gonna, I asked my friend Melissa, I was like, how do you do it without your finger hurting? And she was like, just put some tape on it and your finger should be okay after that. But this was the end of it. I did it all the way around and I wasn't too sure, like, I asked everybody, I was like, do I do all 4? Because this is the finished end. And I was just gonna do one side of it. But then I was like, it looked really, really, it didn't look full. So I had to do both sides of both ends. But I don't think I measured it right, but it's looking up. I like how it came out.
You're so comfortable giving a speech. Good job. It's always fun. All right, Samantha. Nice job. Nice job.
I beaded a Native American rosette. It's an 8-pointed, I did 8-pointed scarf. I used size 10 charcoal Slovakian beads and size 10 needles, stiff out beeswax, white thread, and then I picked suede light brown leather. At this point, it was going good. I enjoyed how it turned out. It was very, very meticulous, but it took a lot of patience. Some of the good things happening were being able to find the material I needed for the project. Picked out some good contrasting colors. Every time I came back to it and worked on it, I usually did it for like an hour. The bad thing that was happening was I kept poking my finger several times while beading. Sometimes the thread would get tangled in the beads. Even I used some of that beeswax, but it kind of came undone when I eventually like kept beading. So I just kind of had to keep applying the beeswax. It's going great. I enjoyed the experience of learning something new. You can choose your own spacing between the beads.
Have you a lot of experience with beading?
No, I never did beading in my life ever, so I remember my great grandma used to bead me, I always used to go over there and help pick up her beads and everything, and that's just, but it was new, but I enjoyed it very much.
That's the first thing you ever do, right?
Yeah,
Very good.
thanks. And then one other bad thing that happened, I didn't find the right kind of stiff felt. It was more thicker and softer, but it was still for beading, so I just used it anyway. I just went to a couple places, I didn't shop around too much. Project took patience dealing with the beads because they're so small. Not pulling too tight to buckle the beads. Like I said, I never worked with beeswax, but I like how it prevented with tangling most of the time. It was tedious. Sometimes putting the thread through the needle was tedious. I couldn't get it. Sometimes it took me like 3 minutes. And I was like, I almost gave up, but I kept going. And then I just did like go half a beat away to get it lined up on your line. And then just keep going. And it didn't matter like with how many beads were in between, as long as it got you to the next line of beads. So if it was like one more less or one more, then I just kind of stuck to the design pretty much. Overall, it took me about like 8 hours. With all the, I don't know, from start to finish, from the shopping and everything, so.
What are you gonna do for your next one? Doesn't mean that they do good. Nice work. It looks like a lot longer than 8 hours of time.
Yeah.
How many hours is yours?
I like to breaks in between.
Not including the break.
I don't even know, probably like a couple of, I was like, almost 2 weeks. Yeah, because I would take those breaks in between, because I'm thinking of it.
Yeah.
But then, like, once I started getting going, I get more stop.
Analysis. All right, Riley, you can begin.
For my project, I decided to make a small beaded lanyard. This was my first one. The materials I needed were a beading needle, thread, 10 inches of rope, beads. The colors I chose were black and red, 1 inch of leather, a keychain of rope. How it was going, everything went good so far. I started doing 40 black beads, then 10 red, then 10 yellow, then repeated that until the end. Some of the bad things that were happening is that I kept messing up and having to start over, but the good thing is that I got better every time with every mistake.
And had you done this before?
No, this was my first one. At this point, I finished beading and started to add the leather piece, then the keychain rope. What I learned from this project, I learned that you have to be very patient while beading because it's easy to mess up.
Is it usable?
Hmm.
It's good, or are you gonna use it?
My first one.
How expensive, what's the cost of it?
Everything.
Oh, you already had.
Yeah, like the beads, the rope, thread and stuff.
Always doing nice Christmas presents that faculty use lunch at the time. Happy to do that, yeah.
So I did mine on photography and describing what that means to me. This is a photo of my home that I took in 2017. And I started off with a tiny pink Canyon Power Shot. It was an A4000 that was gifted to me by my grandmother. It was a really cute camera, and when I was 16 at the time, I left the States for my first time, so I got to capture some memories and moments. This is me coming home, where I'm from. This was an art piece I've seen at the Chicago airport, and it's called On the Wings of Water. And I really enjoyed that, also with the flags in the background. Instead of having souvenirs to keep, I'd rather have an image so I can remind myself of the place that I've been and the angle and seeing the stuff that I've seen. And how my day went. It was very hectic that day, and I remember I met 2 celebrities in the airport with some friends, which was fun. This is a photo I took back home, and I captioned all of mine. So this one, it's explaining a good time with my sisters. It's Mitankalas Kikchi Michiokikpi. And it was just a really good day, and I feel like this photo sums it up for me looking at it. The good and bad things, I couldn't really draw a fine line, but there were some times I would have bad days and stuff, and some photos would give me a better remembrance of it, such as this one. I finally came home to visit, and we went and planted some stuff at our community garden, and they had a celebration going on, so I got to view my sister's dance for the first time that season. So I have to give credit to my 12-year-old sister who took this one for me, which I love. This one I took out at the desert, and I left a quote with it. This reminds me of, this is in remembrance of my grandmother at the time. And I said, every sunset brings the promise of a new dawn, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it continued by me traveling more and taking advantage of the sightseeing. And here was the first time I left the country, and I took this in Mexico. It was probably like 8 a.m. It's a nice view. And then this one I called Roots. It's from my back home, one of the towns in the reservation that was actually named after some ancestors that I have. What I learned from it is being able to bring back those memories in a good way and holding on to things that sometimes I forget. This one was one of my favorites. It's located in the alley where I grew up, and as a kid we would always go climb the church roof just to get a better view and play hide and seek or run around, just have fun. Also, this one is my grandpa's land, and here's our creek. This was at sunset. Here's a deck that he built from scratch, so this one touches home for me. And that's it.
For my project, I did origami. And I chose origami because I seen it on social media a long time ago. And it was something like way more advanced than what I did. But it was just always in the back of my mind. And this project really gave me the opportunity to try it out and write out my process. So that was pretty fun. I chose a rose, by the way. And I just searched up the YouTube video. The challenging part was finding out what I wanted to fold. I chose about two other options before this. I chose normal paper, and that was too advanced for me. So I just condensed it down to a sticky note. And before I chose the rose, I chose two different options, and it took me forever just to get those. So I found this one. This one's easier to do, and so yeah. I got to say, I found this video, and it took me. The first day I tried it, it took me at least 2 hours, and I was so frustrated. And so I just took a break, and then the next day I tried it out, and I got it. And then I did it wrong again. Once I finished the part, I thought I was done. I did it wrong. So I was pretty frustrated. I use so much sticky notes, it's not even fun. I think I used half of the sticky note packet, and it was pretty new. It was just so frustrating. And I was so frustrated, but I knew it was gonna be worth it in the end. And but in the moment, I was just really questioning if I want to do this for my fall project. I was so mad. But here it is. Those are my two roses. I did it the second time to prove that I could do it again because I was so mad and I just wanted to show that I could do it again. But one thing I learned is that about this project is really fun just writing down the details of your process and just I don't know, it's like an accomplishment really. And seeing how when you first started out to the end, it's really cool just to look back and see all that progress you made and how frustrated you were in this moment.
So what were your other items before the roses?
A swan. I seen a swan. Yeah, you know how they make that out of
That was hard.
yeah, I don't know. I wanted to do that, but it was too hard for me. And then I chose a dinosaur. And then the third one was a heart. And then this
So
is my fourth
Jeffrey,
one.
what did you start when you began?
Peace cream.
What was it?
A peace cream.
Because he does some marvelous.
Yeah, I was trying to shoot for stuff that's way too advanced for me. So, but
They
yeah,
must have a list of origami for beginners, 101 and swan. Yeah, that sounds really.
yeah, I don't know why I tried to do that as my first try. But this is my
Yeah,
final project.
good.
Yeah. That's the tier 4 things.
Yeah, he needs, so stop share. And that button. And then famous, you know how to share, right? From speech class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just grab that green button that says share screen on famous has to do
Okay.
it. Famous, you share the screen, there you go. Hopefully that's what's on your desktop and not in the people. I always have to say, make sure your desktop is. You don't want mine, you want yours.
All right, so am I ready now?
Yep, we can see it. Yep, go ahead.
Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. So I chose mine on how to make an arrow. It's kind of like a cultural thing we do down here. We do it for fun or for competition during like this time of year. So, anyways, this is how you start making an arrow. You can either get choke cherry or willow sticks, and you pick how big you want them. Like you can get them like 14 hands or like 15 hands tall. So, and then after you cut them down, then you let them sit for like 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how thick they are. And so you pill them after like the first 2 weeks, and you let them sit again for another 2 weeks. And they should look like this after you get done pilling them. And then how's it going? this is what you need to make like a full arrow. Is you need a wood shaver, you need a grinder, you need utility knife, you need feathers, wire, and a saw. And so after you get done peeling your arrow, you want to, oh yeah, we need sandpaper too. But you want to sand it down after you cut the edges off. You sand it down and you start working on how smooth you want it and how thick you want it. And after you get done with that, you want to add feathers to your arrow as well, for like turkey feathers. And you peel your turkey feathers, you put them on, you glue them on, and you grind them down, grind your points down like nails, kind of like. Yeah, you grind them down. And you cut the bottom with your saw and you add to your arrow. And what are the good things and bad things happening? The good things happening are the arrow feels nice and smooth when you're doing so. And the bad things happening are probably when you're sanding them down, one gets smaller than the other. So it's kind of gets uneven at the same time. And this is how the finishing touch should look to an arrow. It looks like that. You need rubber tape as well. You need the tape to tape down your feathers right there. And hold on. Oh. Right there. This is what it looks like when throwing an arrow. That's like me, like back in like 7th grade. But yeah, it looks like that. You throw it just like a rock. That's how you grip it, just like a rock. So in your tape is where you throw the arrow as well. And normally I make like 25 to like 30 sets a year for people who want to buy them. So I'm pretty good at making them. So that's it.
Which do you prefer, the choke cherry or the willow to make them out of?
I prefer a choke cherry because it's like more sturdier and stronger than a willow stick is like light, but it breaks easier.
And then what do you charge for the arrows that you build, the 25 to 30?
I usually charge like 100, 120. People charge like 200, but they're really easy to make. So
Good. And how many do you do a year?
I make like 30 to 40 sets a year for kids or adults that want to buy them from me.
Good deal. And who taught you?
My grandpa. My grandpa taught me. He's been making arrows like all his life, so I kind of watched him growing up. So I've been making them for like 8 years now.
Awesome. That's really good. Thank you. Great. You can stop the share. Oh, I think you did. Maybe. Speaker. Okay. It's 2:26. And anybody else on today? Looks like we did them all. Wednesday we'll continue on a variety of topics. And don't forget, chapter 12, we'll do at midnight tonight. We cover it thoroughly, but we got it a little bit last week. And the revolutionaries. And then we'll listen more on Wednesday. Thank you. Go Origami. Oh, this one. Oh. Anyway, you are dismissed. Yeah, I had it done in minutes.
Oh, it's like that.
I was really into my last week. So we're gonna have, yeah.
Oh, it really?
Yeah. It was like I had it in a bag and it had a like crinkly looking.
So what are you gonna do the next one?
I don't know. I was gonna like make some for like when I go home and then like during Bear Dance time, like people that like to buy shells, like just like whatever.
I love those colors. Thank you. Good job.
Do I just have to leave it on the comments?
Yeah, I opened it. It's good.
See, guys later. See you later.
You can't afford that.
Yeah.
It's just things done tonight.
Yeah.
chapter 12.
And
Every time you get up front, it's easier.
yeah, every time you do.
Janelle, she's in speech class. She's done about 20 speeches. and She just gets up and converses. And you see how easy it was?
Yeah,
It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, much better. And good topic for you. That's not an easy one. We assume it's easy. And it's
Yeah,
not.
that's what that's just.
Uh-uh.
I'm working on my chapter 12.
Mhm.
Okay, so the quiz. I was looking in my book for that, but is there anything that's in the material that would make it a little bit easier to go back and forth?
Quizlet.
Quizlet?
Yeah, that's at the first chapter, I'll tell you where to go in Quizlet. So it gives you the address. So just go down to chapter 1 and quiz and you'll see it. Okay, yeah. Those are good. And I really enjoy this week. It's kind of fun because it makes you have empathy for artists.